What's going on, guys? It's Groove back again with another one from Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. And in today's video, we're going to be going over book 11 of his. Now, again, this is your first video. I like to do a little backstory on Marcus Aurelius before we jump into these. So Marcus Aurelius, he was a co-emperor of Rome from 140 AD until 180 AD. And that's kind of relatively new. It's within the last, 2,000 years. And this is the reason why I love reading history books and reading, just stuff on philosophy, is because a lot of people put him into the same basket as like Plato and Socrates and Zeno. But all of those guys, he idolized them. They all grew up hundreds of years before he was even alive. And so, again, with him idolizing these people, he brought these Stoic philosophies into his rule of Rome, and the people loved him for this. Rome was great because of this, because he kept these, these philosophies. And so then we get into these books. And so as he started to get up in age, he just started to write down things, just jot down his notes and his thoughts, what he thought about life and what was the meaning behind it all. And he didn't think that these were going to get shown to the world. He didn't write these down to get published or to be seen by other people. They were just him getting his thoughts off. And so these pretty much are just journals of his, and they're in no particular order. Now, they are structured in books, but just inside the books, they're just passages. There's no flow to them. They just go as they are. And so I'm going to read some of these out loud. Some of them are just kind of self-explanatory, and then some of them I'm going to go dive deeper further into them. And we're just going to go from there. So that's how I'm going to do this. So here we go. When you are losing your patience, remember that human life is a mere fragment in time. Now, this is a very simple passage, but again, understand that life is so short. And it just makes me think about all those people that get angry during like road rage instances, and then maybe somebody ends up losing their life and then the other person ends up going to jail. We're here for a limited amount of time. It's not that serious. Stop losing your patience. Stop getting caught up in your emotions and being just angry all the time. We really need to just realize that life is so short. And so, why be angry all the time? Why lose your patience for petty things that aren't even going to matter, 5 minutes later? Kindness is invincible if it is sincere. What can the most aggravated man do if you are continuously kind to him? When you fully understand this, that kindness is a superpower, constantly saying that you are sorry. If something is going wrong, even if it isn't your fault, if you're just like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean for that to happen, or I was misunderstanding something, I didn't understand. The person who's trying to be aggravated, they can no longer be aggravated at you. They can't be mad anymore. You can't be mad at somebody who just said they're sorry. And this is a superpower. I love using this to disarm somebody. I remember I was in my car and I pulled into a handicapped parking spot, and some guy who had just walked out of a building because I was waiting for somebody, he started kind of like yelling at me. Again, my windows were up at the time. He was just like, hey, you can't park there. You got to move your car. And I rolled down the window, and he thought that we were about to get into like an arguing match or something. He was kind of mad. I don't know why, but he walked up to the car, and I was just like, oh, you know what? I'm sorry. This is my fault. I just pulled in here 2 seconds ago. I'm waiting for somebody to come out of this building, and then we're going to leave. And he was totally disarmed. I could see it on his face. Again, he thought we were about to just start arguing about me being in this parking spot. He was just like, oh, well, you just can't park here. And I was like, I know, I'll be 2 seconds. And then he walked off again. But kindness is a superpower. It is disarming. You cannot stay mad at somebody who's sorry, even if it's not your fault. If you're just constantly kind to people and just saying, hey, my bad, I'm sorry, they can't get mad at you. It is disarming, and they can no longer be aggravated. The closer to control of your emotions you have, the closer you are to power. Anger is as much of a weakness as pain is. At festivals, Spartans would put seats in the shade for their visitors and sit themselves wherever they could. Now, I don't know what that passage has to do with anything, but I don't know why, but it really stood out or stuck out to me. I don't know, I don't know. He was just, he was just randomly just like, the Spartans were super kind to their visitors. In Epicurean writings, there is one laid down precept that one should constantly keep in mind those who followed a path of virtue in earlier times. I really like this, again, when I read this, because he's constantly name dropping people throughout all of his writings, of people just great men who followed great virtue. And again, this is where he's getting it from, these Epicurean writings. And I like that he keeps these names alive. And it just makes me think like, man, I wish I could go back to these times and see these people and just see what they were alike, because these names, I'm just like, who the heck were these people? But he's like, man, these were great individual peoples who had very high virtues, people that you just want to be around and be next to and listen to them about how to do life. I don't know, I just like that. Look at the sky at dawn and remind ourselves of the consistency of those heavenly bodies, of their duty, their order, and their purity. No star wears a veil. Now, I really like that passage. Again, no star wears a veil. Are you a star? Are you doing what you need to do in this life? Are you being pure? Are you doing your duty? Or are you wearing a veil? Socrates used to question this. What would you rather have? The soul of a rational being or irrational being? What sort of rational being? Pure or low pure? Then why don't you aim for that? Because we all have it. Why then you're fighting in disagreements? I really like that passage, that paragraph. Because it's right. If you were to answer all of those questions, every single person on this planet would sit there and say, yes, I am a rational person. I am a rational being. I want a pure soul. I feel like I am a pure person. But if that is the case, why are we always fighting? And not just, maybe America and Russia or China, but just amongst ourselves. Why are we always angry at each other? Why are we always fighting and squabbling with each other? If we're all supposed to be rational, every single person would sit there and say, I'm a rational person, I'm a rational being. But then again, it's like, why are we always fighting with each other? And why are we not striving to be better people if we would all answer that way? Again, I really like that one. I feel like we should all, sit with ourselves and, ask ourselves this. If we're rational beings, if we're a rational person, why don't we act like that outside when we're talking to each other or when we're working with each other or living amongst each other? Why are we always fighting? Why are we arguing? Why are we yelling? Why are we always clashing with ideas and stuff like that? If we're all rational, why can't we just act like that? And that's pretty much it for this book. I really like this book because it just went over, emotional control, kindness, patience, and just how those are superpowers today, but most people don't end up using them. Most people are not kind, they're not patient, and, they're just not good to each other. We need to really sit down and be better people. I know that sounds simple, but so many people are just mad and angry today. And if you can learn to control your emotions and just show kindness to others, everybody's life would be better and yours would too. And so, yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Go ahead and hit a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll catch you guys in that next one. Peace.